What is like first of all, how do you say Ayurveda? How do you say it? And then how the heck did you end up doing that? Like you're from Chicago. You're like this. Are you Polish or
Russian?
Russian? You're Russian.
Russian dude. That's how you pronounce it. It's Ayurveda. And yeah, I mean, my story is that I was first introduced to Ayurveda about a little over 3 years ago. I did a yoga teacher training, a 200-hour teacher training in New York, and that is what, we had like a 3-hour presentation from an Ayurvedic practitioner who came in and just gave us the basics, and I really resonated with it in such a deep way that I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I went and saw an Ayurvedic doctor because I was so curious to see what my dosha was, what she would say about me and my skin and my hair, like if she had any diagnosis that she could give me that I wasn't able to get from a Western doctor, and any lifestyle tips that she could give me as a unique individual. And not only did I get so much information from her personally, but she also told me that if I wanted to study Ayurveda, I would have to move to the West Coast. And that's where all of the current Ayurvedic schools are in the United States. So I wasn't ready to move to India yet. I never even considered going to India. I mean, that's not entirely true, but I wasn't ready to leave the country and study Ayurveda. But circumstances were kind of playing in my favor, and the universe kind of led me to California. And I literally when I got to California, I typed in Ayurveda schools, and there was one. I was in the San Francisco, in the Bay Area, and there was a school just 3 hours north called the California College of Ayurveda. And I rented a car and I went up there, and I had a 20-minute tour of the campus, and I enrolled on the spot. I didn't even think about it. I gave him the credit card. Everything was just, it flowed. It was instant. It was a very organic flow, and never looked back. It's been pure magic ever since. It's truly a blessing to be studying this, and I'm so excited to finally be able to share just a little bit of what I've learned so far, even though, yeah, I'm sure a lot of you already know plenty.
Trust me, we know a lot less than you think we do. So also, Sasha, I'm curious about this. What's your thoughts on why, we're creating this for children and teens, right? And especially, kids. Why should they know, why should they know about Ayurveda? How would it, what's the benefit of it? This is different. Kids don't usually learn about it. Mostly adults end up learning about it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's such a blessing to share this with kids, because a lot of adults develop chronic pain as they age. They wait until it's too late to really learn proper lifestyle practices. And a lot of people are, suffer for decades from very preventative illnesses that if you learn how to live properly, if you learn rightful living at an early age, you develop rituals and routines that become second nature, and they're not hard. And once you become an adult, as I'm sure all of you guys know, it's not as easy to change. The more years you have doing things a certain way, whether it's what you eat or what time you go to bed, if you've decided I'm a night person, I'm not a morning person. Oh yeah. So, I mean, it's so great to teach this to kids, because later on it's a lot harder to change your habits. They just kind of become ingrained in you as an adult. I'm restarting my computer right now because I just think it's going to be a lot easier for me to present on my laptop. Okay. So that I have all the slides in front of me as I speak about them. I'm sorry about that. I don't know.
No, we don't say I'm sorry. We sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you.
I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you.
What's your interest in integrating Ayurveda and Western medicine? Like, how does that? Why are you interested?
I think they would work so well together, because where Ayurveda leaves off, allopathic can begin. Allopathic medicine or Western medicine doesn't really, it's not functional, meaning if somebody is trying to prevent an illness, or if someone has a chronic, whether it's back pain or their, arthritis or an autoimmune condition, the best case scenario, they go to a Western doctor, and they're probably going to get a prescription drug for, the symptom. Ayurveda works with actually targeting the root cause, and we look at a human being like a map. Like we unfold the layers, and we peel each one back one at a time, and we really investigate, who are you, and why is there disharmony in your life? Why is there disharmony in your body? Obviously for more advanced later, for like later stage cancers and things like this, for life-threatening emergency care, that's where allopathic medicine really shines, because we can leverage all of the advanced technology and science that we've come up with. And, we have amazing surgery in this country, but we don't have a way for people to live comfortably with a disease such as, arthritis, diabetes, allergies, how to manage a condition that is a lifelong condition. It's not necessarily something that can be cured with a pill. It's not an easy solution. It actually involves lifestyle changes. And so I think that the future of Ayurveda, or any Eastern medicine, either, traditional Chinese medicine, I can see an integrated system where, someone, even if they did have later stage cancer or, a life-threatening condition, some kind of life-threatening condition. Okay, so the allopathic doctor can give you something that will save your life, like surgery or, a medicine,
Something emergency related.
Emergency care, right? But to prevent it from happening again, and to also support the body while it's healing, you need the lifestyle aspect of your life to change. Otherwise, you're probably going to, the disease hasn't really been treated. It's probably going to relocate in another part of your body and manifest in another way. Otherwise, a lot of people have recurring cancer. It's not really something that you can heal without getting really deep. And that's not how our Western healthcare system is designed. It's not designed to get that deep, because also the part of the system that isn't working in this country is that doctors are very understaffed, and they have very limited time with each patient. And in Ayurvedic medicine, we don't really ever tell anyone to leave, because we need as much information as we need, and it's going to take as much time as it's going to take. So we aren't watching the clock and kicking people out of the room. We are present with them, and we treat each person like a divine being, like God has walked into our care. And it's a sacred, it's not a transaction. It's more of like, okay, you're trusting me with your health. That is a huge responsibility, and that is the oath that we take as Ayurvedic practitioners. So we take it really it's a completely different way of looking at healthcare. It's really truly like deeply caring about a person, and looking at every single way we can help them, through aromatherapy, color therapy,
nutrition, meditation, yoga, and also talk therapy. And, you know, there's just so many tools.
Awesome.
Yeah. And this is what happens. I get
Yeah.
talking, and then.
No, that's amazing. I mean, I think, you know, my personal perspective on it, especially lately, you know, working with nurses specifically, is how like a lot of the healers, their intentions are really amazing and noble. Like nurses are amazing and they care so much. But when they don't have like the full spectrum of knowledge about healing, it's very limited. Then, you know, like it's almost like we're like tying one hand behind the back and be like, all right, heal somebody, you know, and you know, when we learn like all the stuff that we've studied throughout history, Ayurveda, Chinese medicine, indigenous medicine, that's all stuff that people researched, you know, and to us, for us just ignore it. Like, it's so sad because we got here because they were healthy somehow, they survived, right? So we should combine that knowledge and that information of human wellness, human well-being. So yeah, so nurses being like souped up, like being like integrative nurses, that's like awesome. So exciting to think about. And doctors.
Yeah, and honestly, our healthcare workers need support as well. They also need to be healthy. We need to think about, like, are they being provided with proper care with the food so that they have the energy to pull the kind of hours that they pull in the hospital, you know? And like, what are ways to give them, like, even if it's like a meditation room in the hospital, you know, some quiet place for them to recenter themselves and ground themselves and like remember why they're doing it, so that they're not constantly in a state of exhaustion and stress, right? So it's all about just approaching it in a very holistic way. And Ayurveda is the framework that I think is the most, it's so simple. And I have the presentation now in front of me. I'm rebooted.
You're on, you're live. It's all you.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so introduction to Ayurveda. Why am I still? Can you guys on the far right, are you seeing all the cameras like of everybody?
Yeah, you can shrink it on the top.
Okay. I just don't want that to be distracting for everybody. Okay. So, to begin, you have to know how to pronounce the word Ayurveda, because it's not an English word. It comes from the Sanskrit language, so it's pronounced Ayurveda. You guys can all say it either on mic or to yourselves to get familiar with it. And it's comprised of two Sanskrit words, actually. The word Ayu means life. In actuality, in Sanskrit, every word has like 9 different meanings. But for brevity, for simplicity, especially if this is being recorded for kids and they just want, like, you know, absolute basic, Ayu means life and Veda means knowledge. And when you put those two words together, Ayurveda means the knowledge of life. And what is it? So Ayurveda is a lifestyle for preventing illness and disease for mind, body, and spirit. Ayurveda is also a medical healing system for those who are already sick. So I feel like now is such an opportune moment for Ayurveda to reel back to modern civilization with COVID-19, with the pandemic. A lot of people are feeling very disempowered because they don't, it's the fear of the unknown, the fear of disease, the fear that there's this big bad monster out there and it's going to get me, it's going to take away my health, my ability to breathe, and I don't know how to prevent that from happening. I don't know how to keep myself, you know, people feel vulnerable because they don't necessarily know how equipped their body actually is with fighting pathogens and disease already. We have these amazing, intelligent immune systems that are ready to fight, and they fight for us all day long because we're actually exposed to bacteria, viruses all day long. And so this is really the time to teach people. This is such a great time because now people have the time, they're at home, they're bored, and they also are really hungry to feel empowered with their health. Okay, what does it do? Ayurveda keeps the body and the mind happy. It is a method of living in harmony with nature. So you have to match your environment with your internal well-being. They have to be complementary. So what you're eating has to be seasonal, and it has to be local and organic, and it has to match your constitution, which I'll get to later. But the more we honor what is right for us, the more in harmony we're going to be with our environment, and vice versa. So Ayurveda also teaches us how to breathe, sleep, eat, think, speak, move, and act. In other words, Ayurveda teaches us how to live. Where does it come from? Ancient seers known as rishis, which is India, I bet that's where your name, your spiritual name comes from, Indi Rishi. Rishis were the ancient seers from India. They meditated in the Himalayan mountains of India for many, many years. This is before language was written down. They would spend their lives basically totally devoted to connecting to God and channeling wisdom. And you know, there were many pandemics. You know, this is not the first pandemic that we're facing as a species. There have been many pandemics, and in ancient times, the rishis were asked for guidance. How do we keep people from dying? How do we keep people from getting sick? So the rishis were very devoted to serving humanity. They went out to the Himalayan mountains. They asked God directly, you know, for this information. And the rishis put together the Vedas, which is a group of ancient scriptures, all written in Sanskrit. But before they were written down, the rishis were passing down this information to there were people in society that were specifically appointed with teaching this to people. So there was like a pecking order, you know, there's a system of people. So the rishis passed this down to the Brahmins and the Vaidyas and the healers, basically. And then after many centuries, they started actually rewriting it, refining it, and it became Ayurveda. And it's now, you know, we have the Charaka Samhita and Ashtanga Hridayam and all these other classical texts. But basically, Ayurveda is the knowledge that the rishis received from God through meditating. And the Rig Veda is the specific text regarding all things having to do with health. Okay, I'm going to pause, and I'm just going to make sure everyone is still with me, because sometimes I can go on tangents with with these things, and I can just keep talking. But does anyone have any questions so far? Are we good?
I'm wondering how you got a picture of me and made a cartoon out of it. That's amazing.
I don't know. I feel like that should be your avatar, though.
Yeah, I'm down.
That is you.
And I like eating rishi mushrooms too.
Yeah. When I Google image search rishis, it was like a bunch of mushrooms and then this guy. Okay, so the basics. Every time I try to teach people about Ayurveda, what Ayurveda is and the basics, I always have to start with the 5 elements, because it's really important to know that how close we all are. It'll help alleviate any anxiety when you think about this virus being something foreign, and like, you know, the media is creating the virus to be something unnatural and evil, and it's like the enemy, when in reality everything in this material universe is made of the same 5 elements. So we're very connected. And those 5 elements are space, air, fire, water, and earth. Ether is, you know, the concept of emptiness, like space. Anything that can come into a space, you know, that is ether. Just, you know, you can think about the space in between the stars. Air, anything that's moving is dictated by the air element. Anything in the body that is, you know, transforming, all the chemical transformations happening in your body all day long, like when you're converting food to energy or nutrients, you need fire to create that chemical transformation. Water is manifested in the body through, you know, saliva, sweat, urine, but it's also what protects every single cell from, basically, from death. We need water because we need that protective membrane so that, you know, well, foreign pathogens can't enter our bodies. So we need to keep the skin nice and hydrated. We need to keep all of the organs nice and hydrated. And, you know, all of these elements also have manifestations in the mind as well. But I'm just going to start with the physical body. The earth is, our physical body is earth, because anything that is, you know, tangible in our world is made of earth. So everything that you see, even the computer or phone that you're on right now, is made of earth. Okay, so then how does that play into the body? The 5 elements are categorized into what we call doshas. There are 3 doshas in every single organism. Every single living organism has a different ratio of the 5 elements. And those categories are vata, pitta, and kapha. Vata is made of air and ether. Okay? Pitta is made of fire and water, and kapha is made of earth and water. We all have all 3 doshas. It's important to know that just like we all have the same 5 elements in our bodies, we also have the same 3 doshas, but we each have a unique percentage of each dosha. And those fluctuate throughout the day. They fluctuate throughout our lives. They fluctuate with the seasons, with what our hormones are doing, with what we're eating. They're constantly changing. So that is an important thing to know. Just because somebody might have primarily air and ether, you know, what a lot of people have been doing, a lot of Ayurvedic practitioners have been teaching is, okay, you are a vata, or you are a pitta, or you are a kapha. That's kind of a misunderstanding of what these doshas are, because you're not one dosha. You might have, you know, primarily you might be mostly vata, but you have all 3. So how do you determine which dosha you primarily are? And why is this even important to begin with, right? I mean, I'm asking myself these questions for you as I go through this, because if this isn't contextualized for you, it's like not even gonna matter. It's like, why do I care? Well, we need to know what constitution you are. We need to know which elements are predominant in your body, because then with that information, that's how we treat you. That's how we give you the proper foods to eat, the proper yoga to do at what time of day. What are ways for you to balance yourself as a unique being? And that's how we use this information. So the way that we determine the 3 doshas, we always begin with vata. And these are like the telltale signs for the vata people of the world. Usually they have an oblong, narrow face. So it's really narrow and long. You can probably think of people in your life that you know. These are celebrities that are like poster child vata people. They have long noses and very thin lips and small eyes and, you know, narrow face structure. They also have a dusty gray complexion, Their hair is really coarse and dry. Their fingers are long and narrow, and they have a rectangular palm and really long fingers. And their skin is thin. Their bones are narrow. Their necks are long. And they tend to be very lean. They don't really have a lot of muscle. And if they do, it's very lean muscle. It's not like, earthy, like cushion, they don't really have a lot of cushion. They're pretty bony or very lean muscle. So if you can think of someone in your life that looks like that, now you can begin to understand, okay, they have a lot of air and ether in their body and in their mind. Okay. And the way that Vata, the personality for Vata people, usually they're very bubbly, lighthearted, enthusiastic, easily inspired. They speak very quickly because they have so much air. They have so much movement that their mind goes a little bit faster. They're so passionate that, not passionate might not be the right word, but they're so excited and enthusiastic that they tend to not only speak quickly, but they can change topics very easily. They get easily distracted. And with that, they change their interests very quickly. They might start a project, but it's very hard for them to finish it, because as soon as they start one project, they see another shiny thing and they want to go pick that up and touch it and play with it. And all of a sudden they're much more interested in the new shiny thing. But they also happen to be very creative and amazing, talented artists. When a Vata person is out of balance, the cardinal emotions for that person tend to be fear, anxiety, overwhelm, and they have mood swings, because mood swings are a sign that something, the moods are moving, they're changing very quickly, and that's the air element. And I should also speak a little bit about fear. The way that air translates into fear is that when we allow our minds to operate unconsciously, our minds don't stop. They tend to go in circles. We tend to repeat the same story over and over. And unless we're conscious of our own tendencies, it's very easy to keep repeating these mental states that are very difficult to manage. So for Pitta people, they tend to have a very angular facial structure. We could just look at, two celebrity examples, Brad Pitt, Nicole Kidman. You see the very defined jaws. They have very moderate sized noses, eyes, and lips, and their hair tends to be, everything's medium. They're just kind of always moderate, their build, and they have rosy or ruddy complexion that comes from the fire, and they actually can put on a lot of muscle. It's easy for them to lose weight. It's easy for them to build muscle because they have a very high amount of fire, and so therefore they have the ability to transform their bodies very easily, and they can also change their mind very easily. So I'll get into that in a moment. Okay, so an imbalanced, like a Pitta person that is in balance, is very focused and very directed. They're ambitious, they're goal-oriented. They never leave a project unfinished. Like, that is a Pitta, one of the worst nightmares of a Pitta person is not finishing what they start. Like, they are very focused and goal-oriented, and they're very organized people. They're very logical. They speak clearly and succinctly, which mirrors the fire in the mind, because what does fire do? It illuminates truth. Light, fire is our source of light, and light allows us to see. It allows us to see the truth. It allows us to make really sound decisions and make them very easily and quickly. And once a Pitta person knows the decision, very easy for them to, act on the decision. They're very blunt and to the point, but that fire, it also makes them very warm to their friends. But if you cross a Pitta person, that same warmth to their friends, that can turn into fire to their enemies. So they can be harsh in that regard. They make excellent teachers and leaders. And what a Pitta person looks like out of balance is that they're very short-tempered people. They have a lot of fire and a lot of passion. So that becomes heat in the mind, and that can become anger, intensity, resentment. They can become very jealous and critical, and judgmental as well. And the lion, I guess, is a good, animal to represent this dosha. Does anybody? Oh, and the hummingbird for Vata is a very good animal to describe the Vata personality. Before I get into Kapha, is everyone still with me? Am I going at an okay pace, or am I going too quickly? I don't know. I can't see you guys. I can only see my presentation.
This is great.
It's fine.
This is good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting? You like it?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Okay.
Good to see.
Awesome. Okay, so Kapha is the third dosha, and Kapha people tend to put on weight very easily, and it's very hard for them to lose weight. Because remember, they have primarily earth and water. What does earth and water make? Think about it for a second. Earth and water. So like dirt and water, what does it make? Mud. Mud is really sticky and heavy, and it's hard to change mud. Kapha people, they're very sturdy. They're very well structured people. It's not easy to push them around. Their faces tend to be very round. Their eyes are large. They have a wide nose. They tend to be pale. They have thick, lustrous lips and hair. They tend to have short, stubby fingers and very fleshy palms. They tend to have very thick skin, thick bones. And all of these things, by the way, in Ayurveda, it's like the ideal, because you want to have a strong body that is not easy to destroy, right? You want your body is your, basically it's your vehicle to experience this life. So you want a really strong body, and Kapha people tend to have not only the strongest bodies, but the strongest immune systems. Even though Kaphas tend to get, no, I'm on a call. Okay, that was my dad. Kaphas tend to have very short necks, and they're very stocky. So when they put on muscle, it's like, like those bodybuilders who can barely lift their arms, like they're just like a big muscle. That's a Kapha type of muscle. Yeah, so these are celebrities that you can use to visualize what a Kapha person looks like. As you can see, Oprah has big, beautiful lips and eyes and very thick and like lustrous skin. Her skin is thick. And Jack Black, he's got, you can see he has a very thick neck, and they're just more, they tend to be more plump, but they're not necessarily plump. They could also be very in shape as well. So the animal, a really good animal to represent Kapha people is the elephant, because they're quiet, but they're very strong, and they're very steadfast, and gentle and loving people. The Kapha people that are in balance are very calm, sweet, and gentle. because of that water element that makes them really good partners, whether it's in romance or, you know, in business. You can count on them. They're very responsible. They're very loyal and dedicated, and they're good lovers, I would say, because of that water element.
My neck.
Mhm.
I want to buy
Hello?
How to know?
Was that a question? No. Okay.
No. Sorry.
No, it's okay. So, and KAPHA people tend to be quiet. They also tend to be conservative, shy, obedient. They move slowly, but they're very steady. They're not gonna, like, you know, they might not be the first one to get there, but you know, a KAPHA person, when they set their sight on something, they will definitely get there, but it might take a long time because they're not in a rush. Because of their ability to be so reliable and loyal, they're usually in long-term relationships. They don't really change relationships very often. So, and when a KAPHA person is out of balance, they tend to feel pretty lazy and lethargic. It's common for them to experience melancholy and depression. And they're also very stubborn, because think of mud, again, in the mind. They don't like change. They don't like change of plans. They don't like change of behavior. They just want to, whatever it is that they set their mind on, that's it. They don't like to change their mind at all, ever. So the world could be literally splitting in half. They will not move. They're going to stay put.
Bud.
Hello? I hear kids. Okay, so really quickly, I'm gonna try to go a little bit faster, since we only have 15 more minutes before the Q&A. I'm gonna go through these a little bit more quickly. I will try. It's very hard for me to do, but I will try. Okay, so we have Vata, Pitta, Kapha people. And again, this is what we look at. We look at appetite. When an Ayurvedic practitioner is working with somebody, let's say a parent wants to bring their child in for an Ayurvedic consultation, and they want to know, okay, which dosha is what is my child's primary dosha, and how can I help create a lifestyle for them that is in harmony with their constitution, right? So this is the information that we look at. We look at appetite, digestion, elimination, sweat, body temperature, skin, you know, whether they, you know, in this case with kids, they usually, you know, obviously with boys, they don't have to worry about it, but with girls, you know, some girls do get their periods early, but we do look at that in our chart, in our diagnosis. And we look at sleep patterns. So Vata people with their appetite, they tend to be very picky, and their appetite is variable, meaning some days they might want breakfast, some days they might not want breakfast. Some days they like grapefruit juice, other days they decide they hate it. I mean, it's very finicky. Like, they are not consistent with what they say they like. It changes day to day, and they're very, very picky. And, you know, I don't know what that was. Did someone just write on top of this thing? Oh, it's gone. Okay. Little things can aggravate vatas. They're very irritable, easy to change, remember, because of the air element. So little things can cause them to lose their appetite. Pitta people, you never have to worry about. They're going to be hungry three times a day, usually they will always have a strong appetite. Kapha people consistently have a low appetite. With digestion, Vata people, they have frequent gas and bloating, but their gas does not have a smell, whereas Pitta people, when they have gas, it has a smell. And they have burning indigestion. That's a common thing, like acid reflux, things like that, heartburn. And so for Kapha, they feel very heavy after eating, and it seems to take them a very long time to digest. For elimination, we're talking about stools, or poop. We could just say poop, because we, in Ayurveda, we talk about poop all the time. It's not, you should just get comfortable with that right now, because poop is a huge part of the discussion always, because that's what tells us, your poop tells us a lot. So for Vata people, hard stools, it's not only hard, it's hard for them to pass the stools, and they're hard in general. And sometimes they can experience constipation. That's not uncommon. For Pitta people, they can go up to 3 times a day or more. That's not uncommon because of that fire element. They have a really fast metabolism, really strong digestion. And sometimes all that heat in the body can also cause diarrhea. Kapha people, they can be constipated, but usually their tendency, they have 1 stool per day. It's pretty consistent, and it's always solid, and it's always like a log. I know it's like a very visual description, but it's, that's how you know. When they have an imbalance, Kapha people have mucus in their stool. We look at sweat. So Vata people do not sweat easily because, again, air and ether, that air creates a lot of dryness. Pitta people, they sweat easily, and they have a strong body odor. Remember the heat of the Pitta person, that's why they sweat so easily. They're already very hot. They run hot, so they have a strong body odor. And Kapha people, they sweat easily with exercise, but their body odor actually smells sweet. They smell good when they sweat. So very distinct differences here. So I could either go through the rest of the body functions, or you know what? I'm going to finish the body functions, and then I'm going to open it up for questions, just because, because we're about to hit. We have 9 more minutes, so I'm just gonna kind of finish up on this slide. Okay, so for body temperature, Vata individuals they have poor circulation to their hands and feet usually, which is why they feel very cold, and they enjoy hot climates. They absolutely hate winter. They hate the cold. They're very sensitive in general. Pitta people, they often feel warm, so they actually enjoy winter. That's their favorite season. They hate summer. Kapha people are very hard to be bothered. They're very easy, nothing. It takes a lot to bother a Kapha person. Overall, they feel coolness. They could have, damp, moist palms, but they won't even notice if they're hot or cold most of the time. The skin of a Vata person tends to be dry and rough, and their lips may crack often. Again, that's because of the lack of water from all of the excess air. Not excess air necessarily, but if they're out of balance, which Vata people, when they're out of balance, they tend to be dry because it's too much air and emptiness. They don't have enough water or oil, fat. So Pitta people, their skin tends to be more red. They're more prone to acne. They have more oily skin. Kapha people have what we in Ayurveda consider, well, what anyone would consider, but especially Ayurveda considers the ideal skin. It's soft and moist. They really have the ideal skin. It's thick. They don't have acne. you know, have you ever just seen someone with like the most amazing, perfect skin? That's KAPHA skin. And that's genetic. So Vata people, obviously this has to do with women, their cycles, they're irregular. So one cycle can be maybe 28 days, another cycle will be 33 days. And they have very painful menstrual cramps. Their bleeding is very light and lasts 2 to 4 days. Pitta people, Pitta women, their cycles are very regular, every 28 days, 3 to 5 days, and it's heavy and intense. And KAPHA people, their cycle is regular and their flow is moderate for 5 to 7 days, but they don't have any real discomfort. Again, KAPHA people are just, you know, think of the elephant. Like, it's going to take a lot to make an elephant move or be upset. They're very strong. Vata people, their sleep patterns are, they're actually notorious for being insomniacs, or they have very, it's very, because they're so sensitive, it's very easy for them to wake up, and it's hard for them to fall asleep. Pitta people fall asleep easily, and the only thing that's really going to wake a Pitta person up in the middle of the night is if they're overheated from the blanket or the temperature outside or the temperature inside. That's really, but they don't have any problem going back to sleep. KAPHA people, they fall asleep very easily, and the sleep is deep, and they rarely wake up. It is like there could be a parade outside. KAPHA people will sleep through the parade. They won't even know that there was a parade. So I am a KAPHA sleeper for sure. Okay, let's see. It is it's 7:55 Chicago time. I would like to take these last 5 minutes and open it up to you guys and see if you have any questions.
Yeah, that was awesome. So
Okay.
any questions out there?
I know it's a lot of information. Ayurveda is a deep, complex system. There's so many details to this, and it's hard to really simplify it with the basics. But at some point, you know, I got to give it to you like a little bit at a time. I think would be the best strategy. But yeah. Does everybody, from what I presented, can everyone guess what dosha they are primarily?
I think I'm Pitta.
Yeah.
I think I'm a blend. I think I'm Vata and Fit. But I'm confused with the sleep because I think I'm all three for the sleep depending on
Yeah, I think you brought up a good point, Sasha. Like, can you change can your doshas change depending on your environment or like what's going on in your life or
Yes.
whatever?
Yeah. So 2 things to note: you can be dual doshic and you can be tri-doshic.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it's not, you're not necessarily one dosha, like or one dosha predominant. I mean, I could have all of your information. Let's say you know, 2 hours into our conversation together, I have all this information and I tally up the scores, and you're like 30% Pitta, 30% KAPHA, you know what I mean? And it's like so equal that I can't put you in one box. And you could also be all 3 doshas equally. So in that case, tri-doshic people are very hard to treat, but tri-doshic people are also the hardest to make sick. They're like for them, they never ever get sick. Tri-doshic people are, if they do get sick though, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be really bad. Mm-hmm. And then Indy, to answer your question about can you change your dosha? No, your original constitution, there's a word in Sanskrit called prakruti. And that is your original constitution, meaning the percentage of elements at the moment your mom and dad conceived you. That was when your constitution was created.
Mm.
The moment the egg and the seed merged, your constitution was created from that original sperm and egg. And it never changes. However, people lose balance with that original constitution depending on their lifestyle. So I might be a pitta person that is in a very stressful, intense job. Like, let's say I work in the finance industry. Let's say I work as a trader and I'm on the floor and I'm yelling all day long. And I also love competitive boxing. And I also, just eat really spicy food, and I'm a pitta person. That pitta can push, that inflammation can aggravate my vata. Now, all of a sudden I have, our early onset arthritis. You know what I'm saying? So the doshas ebb and flow, they influence one another, and it's depending on your lifestyle, a set of dominoes can cause your other doshas to relocate in your body and to wreak havoc, basically. Some people lose their hair very early in life. This is a really good example. People who become bald very young, or they develop gray hair at a very young age, that's the pitta that went to their mind. Literally, they had so much intensity in their mind that it burned off their hair follicles. And they also lost the pigment of their hair. That's just one example. But the goal of every Ayurvedic practitioner is to get you back into your original ratio, because most of us are not there. Most of us are not in balance, because look at our environment. I mean, right now, what's going on in our world, we're living in a very imbalanced time. Unbalanced. Like, there's a lot of chaos out there. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of anxiety. And you can feel that in the air. And based on your tendencies, the way that you're going to act on that information, you might either, if you're a pitta person, you're going to go into planning mode. You're going to try to fix the problem. You're going to try to think of solutions and strategies, right? But you don't have control. So all of your planning, there's really no, what are you going to do with your planning? Because the government says you can't leave your house. So you can plan all you want, but like, we cannot, well, there's only so much we can do right now. We can't really plan the next year of our lives right now. A vata person is going to be totally freaking out, because that's what the excess air in the mind is going to cause us to have a lot of anxiety and a lot of fear about our future. We're not going to feel safe, oh my God, like, I just, they freeze, like they're not able to function in the unknown, because again, what is the unknown as an element? It's ether, because outer space is ether, and they already have a lot of ether in their body. KAPHA people are actually very chill right now, KAPHA people are like, okay, I get to be home and eat my snacks and watch TV, and what's so bad,
An elephant.
What?
And tune to an elephant.
Yes, or buffalo.
Oh
But-
my God! Pretty soon we're all gonna be like elephants, walking around.
That's what happened with the hair. This is from just a month. Now, look at this. What's a question? Is there anybody else with questions? Trinity, do you have any questions about Ayurveda?
No.
Trinity, what do you think your dosha is?
I'm pretty sure Pita or something like that.
Pitta?
Yeah, Pita.
Pitta. Okay. What makes you think you're Pitta?
Because it said like they're like strong or something, I'm pretty sure.
Mhm.
And I'm pretty strong, and some other things like I don't
They're
remember
very
all of them.
focused. They're very focused. They finish what they start. They're planners.
Mhm.
Are you fiery? Are you fiery? Like, do you like to like go at something? A lot of energy?
Sometimes, yes.
I think she could be the all three. So that was our question, because I was like, could you be all three? So maybe,
Definitely.
I'm just double Vata, so I'm double air over here. So she definitely could be all three. So you answered our question, but yes, she's feeling strongly on the pitta.
What about you? What about you, Mama? Mom, what are you?
I'm
Pick eater.
a planner.
Hi, I'm just double air over here. This is all
I'm just
Vata.
thinking if there is no tomorrow, I can't stop. I have to stop eating. Because there is nothing else to do. Sasha fixed my house. I have nothing else to do.
I organized her house.
She made it so beautiful that they have nothing to do.
Now, well, we learned earlier today that when your house is clean, then the fairies can come. So now the fairies can come to your house.
They're
Clean
welcome.
Fairy was here today. I think I missed that session. But they were here. See, we were there. We were all connected.
Good. That was a good one. We learned a lot about fairies.
Oh,
And fairies are definitely Vata.
we had to be garden fairies too. So it was a balancing act to put down the technology for a while. But this has been very educational, and it was great to hear you just touch bases and about body types and things like that. I think it's important for people to have healthy body image and so on and so forth. And we don't talk about our bodies are amazing tools that we just we don't even know everything that they are capable of and do and can do. Like you said, we're fighting pathogens every day, so it's good to have those little antibodies and things working through your immune system and lymphs and all that. It's all connected. So it's good to have stay healthy.
Exactly. And it's just so, yeah, thank you for reiterating that, because if people only knew how powerful they were, you would laugh at this virus. You would laugh. You would be like, I've got this like divine, I've got this, oh my gosh, this immune, our bodies want to stay alive.
Yeah.
They don't want to die. They've evolved over billions of years to develop this intelligence, this system, this automated system that can identify it as soon as it gets in your body. It's already sending lymphocytes, sending white blood cells to go and destroy those things.
Absolutely on point. She's right.
Very cool. So yeah, it's good that we're teaching them at a young age, and that our focus has shifted a little bit more, and and that we're teaching the youth, because that is our biggest tool, that is our biggest asset, to being, to be in the physical form, but also balancing the ether. Mm-hmm. That's why I see why most people would be too. But yeah.
Very good points.
Gotta stay grounded. All those plant allies out there.
And next one we do, or maybe the next couple ones, we'll do one just on plants, and we'll talk about all some different plants and what they do for us.
To balance the doshas, right? To bring balance and harmony back into the system.
Yes.
Definitely. Right? So especially in place time when it's so many things are unbalanced.
Totally. And thank you, Sasha. That was amazing. Really, really beautiful. Pranam. And so we got a switch up. We got a handoff going on here from Sasha to Adam. Sasha, do you have like a website or anything? Do you want to put it on the chat? Is there any way that people can get a hold of you?
I'm going to write my email in here, and I want everyone to know who is watching this also that I am, in about a month, I'm going to start taking clients for the first time. So
good for you.
You can email me, and if you feel called to work with me, let's just talk, just email me, and I would love to be of service and help out. So there's my email. And yeah, I've been waiting a long time to I've been learning this and really dedicating the past 3 years of my life to this this
She's
path.
all straight A's, by the way.
What, Mom?
She got straight A's for all her studies.
Thank
She's
you.
such a good student.
Yay.
I'm so proud of her. Oh my gosh, she's got such a passion for this.
Aw, thanks.
You got the stamp. You got the. You
I
got.
to do that, by the way. I did not.
Oh, we know that.
Sasha, that is one of the best marketing techniques right there I've ever seen. Like, you get your mom's stamp of approval, you're good to go.
I mean, seriously, it's straight A's. Oh, seriously?
All right. Well, anyway, thank you, everybody, and namaste. Stay well, and you know, just remember how powerful you are. And if you don't know, trust me, you are. Just trust me. Just trust me. You really are. Like, nature is so much more intelligent than I can even comprehend, even having been studying this so in depth. It's beyond the mind. It's really beyond the mind how nature designed us to survive. And we have so many viruses in our body and around us. This one virus, for some reason, has everyone, you know, in this state of panic, and there really should be no panic. I mean, even if you get sick, if you know how to take care of your immune system, you will flush it out. That's what our bodies are designed to do. So I hope that gives anyone even just a little peace of mind, just even a tiny little bit, and you know, may you be happy and well and live a long happy life.